More protesters are marching from Tahrir Square to an area near the Defense Ministry in the capital, Cairo. Several people have been injured there after protests turned violent. Now, these demonstrators had been rallying against the killing of 11 people in the same area on Wednesday. This latest violence is taking place just weeks ahead of the presidential elections. Let's bring in Jazeera Steve Chao, who's near the Defense Ministry in Cairo. Steve, just what's the scene like there right now?
Well, there are ongoing clashes around the Defense Ministry. Just a little while ago, the security forces advanced into the crowd, began firing what sounded like rubber bullets and tear gas. And as the crowds dispersed, they kept coming back, and the troops of the military, security forces belonging to the police, continue to advance into them. And the ongoing clashes are now taking place on the side streets. We saw a number of protesters throwing rocks at the military, at security officials, and then the security officials firing back with tear gas and what some claim is live ammunition. We cannot confirm that, nor do we see that ourselves. What we have at this point is a number of injuries reported from the ambulance crews, the medic crews that have been on around the scene trying to speak to people. We understand that there are about 40 injuries. We saw a number of people on the side of the street with bandages around their heads. The focus of this protest is very much directed at the military, and it seems that the people are not willing to back down on their demands, which is that the military step down immediately, the military hand over its control of the country to the people.
And Steve, we understand that the protesters who were down in Tahrir Square earlier are now also heading to the Defense Ministry. How large are the crowds in the vicinity of the Defense Ministry there?
Well, they're all dispersed into little corners right now. The military is trying to sort of push to surround them and then push them out. And so everyone is sort of gathering in little pockets and then fighting back. It's really hard to determine what the numbers are. What I can clearly say is that this crowd of protesters is very much determined to get their message across, that they have fought long and hard in the last 14 months in this revolution. They want democracy, they want change, and they do not want the military to hold on to power in any way, shape, or form. The military has been very clear in press statements yesterday that it will hand over after the presidential elections in the next few weeks. But there is a great deal of skepticism. There is a belief that the military is trying to look for excuses to hold on.
And of course, this violence, Steve, casting a shadow over the presidential election, which is due to take place in just a few weeks. Is there perhaps, could there be a consequence that the election could be delayed, perhaps, as a result of the violence that we've seen today and in previous weeks in Egypt?
Well, that's a very good question. That's a question that has been asked since Wednesday of this week, when 11 protesters were shot and attacked by armed thugs. Many people claiming then that it was an attack by the military to try to stir up violence, to cause trouble, so as to create a reason to delay these presidential elections. The military said that it is adamant that it wants to push ahead with the presidential elections come the next few weeks. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see how far this violence spreads. You mentioned just now that people are going from Tahrir Square. Different political groups have joined the protest after the Wednesday attack, including the Muslim Brotherhood. The Muslim Brotherhood, however, chose to protest in Tahrir Square as opposed to near the Defense Ministry because they didn't want to instigate things. But if, in fact, those crowds are now moving towards the Defense Ministry, the situation is not looking good at this moment here in Cairo.
Okay, Steve, thank you very much for updating us on the situation in Cairo. Again, if you're just joining us, violent scenes in the streets of the Egyptian capital this Friday as protesters and security forces clash near the Defense Ministry. Government sources saying at least 59 people have been injured in these clashes. The protesters taking to the streets in Egypt today to denounce the killing of 11 people near the Defense Ministry on Wednesday. Of course, we'll keep an eye on the situation in Egypt throughout the day here on Al Jazeera.